Okay, and we should be live. I'm just gonna check my audio real quick. Test. Test. Okay. We should be pretty good. I just need to make sure my audio came through. Alright. Key window up, OBS up. Move this stuff around. Hi there! I'm just changing the stream title and then we'll start. There we go, that should be good. See, is this game a little loud? Maybe. Alright. So this is Chants of Sennaar. It's a game where you decipher a language apparently, and it's a puzzler. An indie puzzler. I heard about this the other week and I was like, I should do that one on stream. Ooh. Click in the background to move. You can also choose to play with the controller. You know, I do have my controller. Let's see how it feels. Ooh, actually feels pretty good. Okay. I'll play with controller then. Move my model around a little bit then if I'm going to be playing with controller. Which hotkey did I have my controller on? Not the fish. Not that one. Maybe I don't have my controller configured right now. Oh well, then we'll just do this. Oop. Now I'm too big. Moving my model around, trying to figure out where I am. There we go. That'll be fine again. The movement feels interesting. Honestly, I'm going in this pretty blind. Let me actually add a pinned message. There we go. We'll pin that so people can see it as they come in. Alright, perfect. Okay, right? Outside area now. Some kind. Can we cross over this? No. We don't want to get our robe wet, I guess. Okay. Okay, so this is gonna be our first look at the language system looks like. Okay, so we can add these to our dictionary, it looks like. So there's one symbol in common between these two. But we don't really have any context. Let's try experimenting. We put it up and door open. We pull it down and door closed. So what if we say it is perhaps the shared glyph is door? This one could be open, so open door. This one could be closed door. And next time we see these glyphs, we'll see if these are more correct. Hi there, Pluto. I am completely new to this game. I've just started. But I've played other games where you had to figure out languages, so I'm actually quite excited to see how this goes. And to see if any of my guesses are correct. Open, open, close, open, close, open. So if we're assuming it's actually up, down, so if what we've got is, it needs to be at least half. Okay, the game audio is quite loud. Alright. Let me adjust it then. Is this sounding a little better? So if we're assuming open is up actually and close is down. Here, how about we just go open slash up. And close slash down. This is gonna look horrendous. Open up, close down. This does look horrendous. Okay, so it's up, up, down, up, down, up. Okay, so the remainder is just down, up, down, up. Very normal. Down, up, down, up. You know, it could be open too, actually, just because water's coming out of the ones that are open. So I could have been right, actually, originally. Let's see. Oh, okay. Oh, it's lock, unlock? Or, no, maybe it is still open, close. Well, let's just call it open, then, to clarify it. Okay, and door is door, which is, that one was pretty easy. Yeah! Wow! The game's still loud when there's music. I can go into the in-game options and just adjust the music. And that's hopefully a little better. keep me updated. Let's see what's over here. There's a lot of water going through here. There's my person.
Oh.
He sure did say something at me. I'd like to say this one might be hello, but I don't have to put a question mark because it puts a question mark automatically. The other three I've got no idea.
Oh.
He used this in both, so I wonder if this one is you. Open. You open door? You open door? Yeah, I open door. Okay. I'm ballin'. I love games like this so much. I wish there was like 30 games like this.
Hey.
So this means I probably. I open door. Yeah, please, open door. Yeah, so each time you get more words, but you also have to figure out what they are. Though it looks like it kind of just hands you what they are at the end of a segment, which I guess.
Oh.
You come? Come maybe? Or it could be here. Okay. Yeah. I. Hello. You. Greetings. You. Me. Okay, okay. You can play the whole game without ever verifying? Oh, how do I turn that off? Or can you just skip the verifying segments?
Uh-huh.
You just don't do it? Okay, okay. Then I'll ignore it.
Oh.
Me come.
Hey.
You close the door. Yeah, I won't verify going forward then.
Uh-huh.
So I feel like that's a whole, like, extra level of difficulty that makes games like this way more fun. And they allow the room for misinterpreting stuff, which I think is awesome. You blank me. I can't remember where we've seen this word before. Could be and. I wonder if there's... So it's like this one with the finger up. It almost looks like a hand waving. I wonder if there's any meaning to the symbols and how they chose them. Because, like, if this is and, then it's two circles linked. I don't know. But this one, it might be and. Or you then me.
Uh-huh.
You then me. Okay, and then we stop the water here. Oh. No, the lever's not on his side at all, actually. Okay, so we should probably let this water out now that that other gate's shut. Excellent. So looks like we're gonna put the lever down there and then do the same thing with that first gate. Hold on, 1 second. There we go, big water drinkers. That hydrate was loud. Part of the reason why they're loud is so I don't miss them. Oh shit, wait, we're gonna meet up? Yo, dude, I just woke up.
Hey.
Your robes are cooler than mine. Oh, goodbye. Oh, so you can see words that you've learned already. Or sentences you've learned already. Interesting. Let's see. Okay, so this symbol is used in both of the people ones. So it could be person, and when there's two of them, it could be like people. Let's look at our context. There's a chunk missing. And then there's the possible person symbol down. Dude, the people fall over. They die. Okay. This one I don't have enough context for. It could be sun, it could be heat, it could be... Like, if we're assuming that doubling a symbol together is like pluralizing it, or like adds volume, I guess. It could be like heat, and there's a lot of heat, which kill people. So I guess we'll put a tentative guess in here. Heat. Heat, die. Dude, it's so hot. So hot, everybody dies. Okay. So that symbol is the same as the symbol there. You can assume it's something important. So let's... Honestly, I'm just gonna put God, because maybe it's a God figure for people here. There's waves emanating outwards. People have their hands raised towards it. It does seem to be the sun, maybe, or a light source, but it's a different symbol than there. Maybe we got a new sun, guys. Do I have any other similar symbols that could help me decode it? Not really. Then we've got this symbol, which looks like it also has a kind of similar symbol to the God symbol. It could be like priest, essentially. Worshipper, something like that. The people became priests. People started worshiping the sun. Everyone's got funky hats now, I see. Different shapes. I don't have a funky hat. Oh, hey. This guy does have a funky hat, though. Yeah, hi.
Hey.
So there's wind blowing. People are going in the same motion as the wind towards this temple or chapel or building. We don't really have enough context for what that is, but it could be referring to the building. It does seem to be... I don't know. Don't really have anything there except for the open, close, possibly come, and the possible them. Has a line underneath like that. Dot symbol, die. It could be like traveling. Like the priests traveled to where God was. And like traveling has the notation of travels until they stop. Move until they stop. So the line underneath could be like a move, could indicate that movement is involved of some kind. Oh, thank you for the follow. So like it could indicate like movement that's so this could be like go. Possibly then. Maybe. We're gonna figure this out. Thank you. So yeah, I'm just gonna put this as travel. This kind of stuff is like my favorite thing. If there was a billion games like this, I could play just games like this. The problem is it's a lot of work to make games like this. So studios, unless like language is a special special interest of like the developers of games like this, they don't tend to go far in development. I have not played Obra Dinn. I I have not. I'm gonna make a sticky note real quick. Where's my paper? Let me write these down. Ah. And a Lorelei. I'll check those out. Okay, let's see. So this one was the one that was possibly travel. This one was a possible movement too. Let's go look back at when that was on. Or if it's movement. Oh, you know what? The way, okay. You know, it could be down in a way, like, it could be a downward motion. So I'm gonna put that there. So like, it could be, God shines down on the peoples. The people something priest. Become priests is probably what the missing word is. We've got this tower. There's something there. And this one, which could be referring to the tower that we can see there. But we don't really have enough. The people close the door. That's such a sharp movement right here. And it's two opposing sides, so I wonder if it's going to be enemy person. Because the way the arrows point at each other feels very... like, we do not like these people. Maybe I can make my voice louder? Yeah, let me put some gain on my microphone. If I can put more gain on my microphone. I'm really quiet. Let's move my gain from 18 to 25. Let me know if that's any better. So, possible word enemy, close the door. No, that's fine. I only started streaming last week, so all of this information helps me. We are not verifying shit. Let's go. I tried not to visually take in any of that page. But I think it's going to show it to me when I open it again, which is unfortunate. Let's see what this guy's got. Is it a card game? Help? Oh no, it's like tarot cards, perhaps. What? Oh, okay. So, it's like rock, paper, scissors. Except you don't choose, you flip over a random card. Well, God definitely beats a regular person, unfortunately. Okay, I win. Okay, I grasped the rules quite quick of this game. Okay, priest. God beats priest. I lost. Thank you for playing, dude. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Is that stairs? Walk. I see they've got the door closed up there. figure it out. Can't go through these things. This guy got anything to say to me? Yeah, it must be like God building. Oh no. No, let's call it let's call it the tower. Many people travel to come to the tower. You go. You and. Okay, so maybe it is and, which was one of my earlier guesses. You and many people. Dude, yappers. I'm a priest. God shutting down on me. God tower. Me travel come tower. Okay. God tower. Me travel come tower. Enemy, enemy. Stop. Priest? Could be stop. You know, maybe. Maybe it's just stop. Because it's a nice jagged looking symbol. No round bits. What do you guys got to say? Do we speak the same language? That's all symbols I haven't seen before. We might not speak the same language. Oh, and they don't appear in our lexicon. What the hell? Oh, wait. What's this? Okay, we've got our own thing. Okay, they've got their own language. Yes! That's so exciting. Okay. Dude, I'm gonna pop off. Okay, now let's head through this door. We did not come through. What's down here right away? Just a dead end? Okay. A knock? Yo. I ain't the kind of people. So it's kind of similar to the tower icon. There's two of them. And then it's in a box. I'm gonna assume this, you know, this could be like a home symbol. Steam achievement spoil the game? Alright, I will not look at them, Captain. Thank you for the heads up, though. Oh, little cutscene. Oh, hello? A child! You travel with me? Okay. Oh, it could be follow. So instead of... I want to go back and look at that one. No. Where the fuck did that kid go? Oh, over there. Hold on, kid. I gotta go check the one mural that I got the travel from. Because it could just be that they... Okay, they followed God to the tower. Never mind. Follow. There we go. A little more context. I love stuff like this because context changes the meaning of words. Overall, it's the same thing. You can still understand, but it helps you refine it a little bit each time. Alright, where are we going, kid? You... Hmm. Hmm. Copy? You follow me. You listen to me? Okay, where are we going now? Could be fine. Maybe we're playing hide and seek. You found me. I know, that's what I think it might be. Maybe it's find and found. What is this? Is this a screen? What the hell? What the hell is this? What? What the fuck is that? Maybe the kid went back here. Oh yeah, he's giggling. I can hear him. So yeah, this is hide and seek. You... Maybe we'll put this as you seek instead of follow. Yeah, we'll just leave it as find. Why would an ancient city have an arcade? I wish more places today had arcades. Are we done? Okay, so that is home. Okay. I didn't want to say it was home before I had more context. Wonder if this is just game, possibly? Me done game? Is there any other words I haven't figured out? No. Me stop game. Me... You know, we could just say go. Instead of come. Because I think go has been able to work in basically all the contexts we've seen that word in. Oh. I was like, is this kid just gonna like go off screen right in front of me? But there was actually a secret passage back there, huh? Kid, I'm coming to your house.
There.
Okay. The lighting's all different here. So if we assume that's a movement, one. You know, I've been saying movement, but it's probably just maybe verbs. No, maybe not. I might be the dumbest person alive. I don't know what verbs, adverbs, and nouns. I barely can tell the difference. Well, I know well, obviously I know a noun and a verb, but if you ask me what an adverb is, I can't give you a definition. But yeah, maybe you... I was like, yeah, movement words, not verbs. That sand is there. A shovel. Oh my god, pocket sand? Holy shit! Okay. So that's the bell that rings when you... Okay. Maybe this isn't house. Maybe this is, like, barracks. No, that wouldn't make sense. I don't know. These guys don't seem very militarized. The other guys do. They got, like, spears and shit. Definitely not, like, this kid's house, maybe? I don't know. Unless he came out. Go to a hiding place, press action button to hide. Go along the walls with left stick. Press the cancel button to turn to free travel mode. Throw our sand. Select our target. Wait until he's... Okay. Made it. Okay, the color's normal here. So maybe it just shows where, like, stealth segments are. What up, kid? Me stop, go tower. Priest close door. You me seek. Open. It's like the symbol in open. But it's got this curved symbol I don't know. Forward. Could be forward. Most people don't like the stealth segments of this game, but there aren't many. Okay. I'll keep that in mind. A key! You, me, game. Maybe it's win. Oops. So this could be key, because it's a thing that opens, maybe? So that's, if that's open movement, then this is open object that opens. We don't have anything else with this symbol. Oh wait, no, we do. Okay. So it's door is that symbol plus that one. And key is open, the open symbol plus that one. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, we're figuring this shit out. Oh, there's a lot of people here. Okay, bye. There he goes. Am I supposed to walk with these guys? Yes, you guys have always had a fifth member. No, 100 circles? That'd be something I do off stream, I believe. That's a I go get a snack and make dinner type achievement. They put a lot of care into all the architecture in this. I really like it. Okay. Well, that's the symbol we just established for key. That's also at door. And it seems to be on a potion shop. Or at least there's a bottle of some kind. Meaning it's like maybe an alchemist of some kind of something. This guy has got that same symbol as part of this symbol. Then there's like this axe. Yo, what up? Me. I'm gonna assume that's sell. Me sell something something. You, I'm gonna assume buy. I'm gonna assume, yeah, buy because it's transaction, and then I buy item that is part of that symbol up there. The music still covers my voice. That's so unfortunate. I think the main problem is I keep mumbling to myself instead of actually projecting my voice. Yeah, we'll do that. See if that helps a little bit. Oh wait, he's got instruments. So maybe... maybe it's, instruments. Instruments, plural. Instrument. See, or it could be music, is this other symbol. I don't know. There might be something about the contributing symbol that I don't understand quite yet. There's something up there. What the fuck is this? Definitely a real puzzle people would experience in real life. You need to come forward so that this can go over. So this can go over. So this can start to come forward. This can come forward. I'll put this all the way down. I don't know if I need to do that, but I'm going to. So this can come this way. This can come back this way. Dude, I remember seeing like so many ads for a car game that was like this, TBH. Okay, and then I've got it. This will be free as soon as I move this one. What is it? Oh shit, I have money! I'm rich! I have a gold coin! Surely I can buy anything I want with this. Oh wait, I never looked at this. God shines down on you and me. Yeah, that would be the inscription on something like that. We are rich. See, I would share my valuables with you guys, chat.
Huh?
Maybe I need more money. Maybe I'm too broke still. I guess if we already established that doubling a symbol means there's multiple of them. This place has lots of keys. This is a pottery, so... Oh, this symbol must mean pot. What? This was the one we had with the heat waves. Mmm. Could be vessel. Could be just pot. Let's see what this guy sells. Yeah, me sell. You seek pot? Ah, don't tell me. Let's put it as pot. There's a cat up there above the key shop. Beautiful cat. Beautiful cat.
Oh?
Glad to know in this, wherever we are, we have pot. Oh wait, maybe I have to go in front of the shop and use the coin. And I have to be like, hey, look at my cool coin. Maybe. What? There's stuff on the back. Okay, never mind. Priest seek God. God buys people. Whoa. You can't just buy people. Oh, you know, I wonder if the cards game would give it got us into slavery. Dude, God enslaves the people, and people seek God. It's a vicious cycle. That's crazy. Is that the moral of this game? Alright, let's head back on up. Wait, does this go to another area here? Oh, it does. Where the hell am I? Pots. You telling me about your pots, man? Heat, die. Me stop by heat, die. Okay, maybe it doesn't mean die. Maybe it doesn't mean heat. There's the people with the one that was in the down icon. Maybe it's like a person puts down something. Drop! So you stop and dropped something into one of the pots. Okay, inside pots. We'll say it is. Maybe it's like inside. Maybe it's just inside. Because this symbol seems to be home. And it's got stuff inside. I have that as tower, but maybe it's like people of all kinds, not just people. Maybe it's break? I don't know. Me stop by Papa. I'll help you look, my dude, maybe. Oh shit, a cat. Oh, I love cats. He dropped something in. How would I begin to look for it? Or maybe I'm misinterpreting what it is. Yeah, maybe I misinterpreted what he's saying. Could be heat, die still. Maybe he's just growing plants inside the pots. He didn't drop anything inside. Oh, we have directions. Okay, so the temple, I'm gonna assume this word is temple, because it's priest building. Pot building. And okay, so this will be our way to confirm what the fuck this word that I think is die means. Because if it is that, then it'll be the die building. If I can type correctly. And then we've got the priest building. And then inside pot, but that'll help confirm that. I'm just gonna leave this as home, because I was gonna say maybe it's person building. See, but then maybe it's not tower. Maybe it's the haunted house of the dead people. So true. It could just also mean area. So, like, it could be the priest area, the pot area. Yeah, maybe it's just pot area. Maybe it's just area. The area where you go to die. And the pot area. Maybe. Where am I now?
Oh, ew.
Yo. You and me?
Oh.
Oh, what a time. Thank you. Okay. You person tower.
Hey. Oh. 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 Oh.
Me buy you? Whoa. Ah, okay, maybe it's just like take. not not buy. Me take you, you person tower.
Oh.
Could be like you? Lots of words I could be misinterpreting. What do we got here? Enemies. Oh, hey, this is all the symbols from that game. Okay. Where did enemies go in that game? I know regular person is at the bottom. Priest might be the second. Okay. Yeah, we got it. I want to see what this says up here, though. I was right, it means die! Look at all those skull emojis! God stop die. Wait, what does it mean? Hey, where am I? He doesn't want to talk to me.
Oh.
Mimi seek down drop. Definitely did not know. Me seek. What the hell am I interpreting? God stop die. It dropped. I might need I might need these words, honestly. I'm getting in a little too deep into the misinformation, I think. Might need to start filling out these pages for real. Okay. I might be stupid. I might have messed some stuff up. Okay, anyway. Seek. Find. And the one that I thought was follow. The hell is that? I might have really messed this up. Oops. No, not where I wanted to put that. Well, these ones I should know. Dude, why is he doing like the absolute cinema pose? Okay, man/human. I think the real challenge was waiting so long to do this, actually. So pretty sure that this was the one that the kid said at the end when he was done playing. I mean, maybe it's go. Sorry, my bad, actually. You go here. Then we put... Yeah, okay. That was my bad. I somehow missed the go symbol again. Okay, so it can also mean want. Go pass. Fine. I really do think that symbol means stop. See, that could be unlocked. This one should be, I would think should be easy. Instruments. See, I thought it was this and this. And then maybe, no. And of course we've got this page. Oh, it does mean pot. Okay. It means plant. So this just means pot. It's not that the other one means pot. It's that meant plant. What? Okay, so the sun, the heat was bearing down, but it was making the plants die. Okay. So does that make... I wonder what this symbol right here means then. Maybe there's something that means tool that I don't have. Oh, I should have it, right? I should have everything. Yeah, we'll come back to that. Me see. Down, God. Down, preacher. Oh, you want a preacher? Okay, so you guys are looking for your preacher. Okay. What? Oh. Dude, I'm like definitely not dressed like these guys. Okay, they don't care that I'm back here. Do I have to rotate these? Okay. Okay. I don't know what this means. Chat, I don't know what this means. Oh, okay, now we're going this way. See what's on the side. Oh, there's more. Okay, okay. Oh. I don't know what this means. I don't know what any of this means. God, open the door, please. I might have to come back to this. I don't get it.
Oh.
Unless these are supposed to be hints. Me down God, me down preacher. Is this what I'm supposed to be putting in?
Oh.
Hi there. Oh, we do time to hydrate? Okay. I don't know. We come back to it.
Oh. Hmm? Hey, you.
Oh. So the keys in a straight pot. The preacher's the guy with the pots. Okay. You go past pot, preacher, take inside pot. Okay. I'm doing good. My brain is fried, man. Okay, this guy might tell me what music is.
Ah.
Maybe not take. Maybe it's like enjoy. Maybe it's like. Me like instrument. So true, dude. Oh, wait, I haven't seen this strat too. God like you and me. Maybe. Is it this striped instrument pot? Oh wait, it's a small straight pot between a half and half at opaque. Is this one? It is. How did he know? What? Priest, help me. Maybe it's like a negative. Me can't find preacher, plants are dying. Me don't like. So maybe it's like a negative. Okay. Yeah, this is my main game today. Though I do have to go to work pretty soon. So I actually do have to stop streaming within the next half hour. But I'm going to try and go as long as I can. Let's see. Anyway, here's your key, dude. Maybe? Maybe I just bring the key to the guy. We're gonna take this key to our homie. Homie, what'd I do now?
Hey,
Preacher likes pot room. These birds are so chill, they just let me walk right up to them. I didn't make it. This is actually the Prism customizable VTuber model by Akizone. Oh wait. This. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, puzzle complete. What do we got in here? We got a trowel. Me find God. Me go past die area. Me go past tower. The preacher. Okay. Maybe that's a key of some kind. What the hell are we doing? Oh, okay, so maybe this is whatever this is. This is the pot. This was the key shop, and this was the potion shop symbol. Or at least as far as I understood it. Lens potion. Okay, so it didn't have anything to do with the shop. Oh, it's just like many pots, many keys, many potion. Okay. What a simple way to name your shops. Okay, so I found the lens. The lens found God! What? Go past die area. Go past tower. The preacher. Okay. Maybe later. Not while I'm streaming. I'll take a look at your images. If you want to just DM them to me.
Oh, ew. Oh,
I'll take one more crack at looking at these back here. And maybe with the lens. Oh, okay. Okay. God something. Okay. Don't know. I do not know what that word means. Okay, so this was just unsolvable without the lens. That's fair. Preacher down. Man, human. I wonder what these guys are doing. They're just like walking around. Oops, no. Let me free. The circle. So man, something devotee. Maybe it's like becomes. Man becomes devotee, perhaps. We got our last one here. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I accidentally pressed the wrong button. Priest becomes God. Maybe it's worships? I don't think the priest is gonna become God. I don't think. I think God becomes instruments. Well, let's go check out the instrument store real quick then. What the hell is going on, man?
Hey, you.
My guy, I don't get it. This is the way to the shops, right? And then down. If I remember correctly.
Huh?
Huh?
Okay, well, that was not where we needed to go. Maybe at this point we need to head back to like the main courtyard area. Did I ever go up here, or where did this come from? Oh, here. What was this way? Did I ever go this? I don't think I went this way. Big ass hole in the wall. Where does this go? The arcade thing again. It's fast travel. Okay. Okay. So that's maybe like 1 and 2 as numbers. Okay, so it is like pot area, priest area, no, or die area, and possibly priest area? Is priest area this one? There we go, that was the home. Oh, it's an abbey, not a home. Okay. Garden. Garden makes more sense than plant or pot area, I suppose. I guess technically it was plant area now that I knew that that meant plant. Church and cemetery. So yeah. Okay. Oh wait, no, then this is the cemetery. It's kind of lively feeling. Doesn't feel very solemn, it feels like nice. I don't think the first thing you should do when you go to church is start moving shit around. Or, to a cemetery, rather. You're seeking God? Church and you. God becomes you, me. Maybe it's watches. Oops, if I can spell. There we go. So maybe it's God watches you and me. Oh, okay. Well, let's see. Okay, so maybe it's that one. And... Okay. So talk, help. It's help. Help. Okay. It's not and, it's help. See, look, love / like, talk. Okay, so that gives us more context. Cat watching the bird. God look at music. The man looks at the devotee. Preacher talks at the man. Cat making cat noises. I can hear my dogs barking in the distance, so sorry if you can hear that. The devotee looks at God. Ooh, okay, a secret passage. Unfortunately, I don't know how long this game is, so I don't know how much time is about left in this game, but I do have to go to get ready for work now, so we will have to leave it off here. If possible, I'm gonna try and stream around the same time, maybe a little earlier tomorrow. And if not tomorrow, then definitely the day after, because I don't work at all that day. So hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow, and if not, I'll see you guys on Thursday. But have a good one, and try to take it easy, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye!